On August 29, 2021, Hurricane Ida made landfall as a strong Category 4 storm, devastating St. Charles Parish. Ida was the strongest storm to ever hit our parish, and virtually every building across our 410 square miles was damaged. Quickly, we came together as a community with hope, resilience, and strength. While we are still recovering and rebuilding from Hurricane Ida, I am proud of how far our community has come in just 1 year.
So it's still moving northwest at 15. This thing is on the verge of becoming a Category 5 hurricane.
Days before Hurricane Ida, I gathered with our team at the EOC as the parish began stocking sandbag locations, placing HESCO baskets, and preparing for the worst-case scenario.
So my main role is to take the forecast information that we get from the National Hurricane Center and turn it into something that's applicable to St. Charles Parish. So based on a risk from Hurricane Ida, I take that information and I recommend protective actions to the parish president so he can move forward in making his decisions.
Once we saw how rapidly Ida was intensifying, I called for a mandatory evacuation and urged our residents to leave. While some residents left, many stayed and weathered the storm.
So we evacuated to Katy, Texas, and unequivocally we can say that we evacuated because of the parish mandatory evacuation. We were unsure what to do, and when they made that order, it helped us to make a clear decision to evacuate.
Probably in retrospect we wouldn't have stayed, but we had never had any issues. We have a whole house generator, we never had an issue with water, so we felt pretty confident staying even though the track didn't look so great. Started to get a little bit concerned when some of our close friends and neighbors who are natives of Louisiana started evacuating the day before. And then we were feeling good through that day, the 29th, until we lost finally our power kind of late in the day, and then things really went downhill quickly. The house was breathing, it was contracting, expanding, contracting, and we couldn't open our back door. So we have a dog, couldn't take the dog out, couldn't even open the door, and we're kind of afraid to open the door. So we were awake most of the night because we kept hearing things hitting our brand new roof that was only 3 weeks old, and the door and the walls. And so that was our night.
Certainly the intensity was the biggest thing, the wind speed with Hurricane Ida. You know, I've been here nearly 25 years, so having experienced a number of storms, you know, there's a lot of similarities in those storms, but Ida with the wind speed was certainly something we've never faced here.
Without knowing the condition of their homes, our dedicated employees and parish responders began clearing roads from downed trees, power lines, and damaged infrastructure.
I think St. Charles Parish employees responded very well. We had numerous employees had damage to their residents, and they were hearing about it from other people, but had not had the opportunity to see it yet. They were able to take care of the critical business of St. Charles in many cases before they were able to get to their own homes. That shows me and tells me that we have a lot of dedicated employees, because it's awfully difficult, in my opinion, to actually focus on something other than your household when you know your household is in need.
So really at the beginning of recovery, doing damage assessments to figure out exactly where does the parish stand once the wind stops is the first thing that we look at. Moving in from there, you start requesting assistance, whether that's from the state or FEMA or even volunteer agencies, which we saw we had many come in. The EOC coordinates all of those activities coming in. We request resources from federal and state agencies, and that really kicks off the recovery process.
Within just 48 hours, our distribution sites were up and running. Damaged infrastructure made communications challenging, but our team got creative to ensure that our residents received vital information, whether they stayed or evacuated.
It was just a communication. You knew every step of the way what was happening, what timeline there were for having things done, and so communication was key.
It wasn't until we came back. We had heard some reports, but they were kind of sketchy. It wasn't until we came back home and walked in the house and surveyed we realized the extent of the damage. And I think we were shocked for the first couple of days. It didn't hit us until, I think for me personally, until we saw the house gutted. And that's when I realized how bad it was. The trash didn't linger. The piles in front of it, I was extremely impressed how fast. Like, I thought I would have piles of trash. I remember Katrina, and they would just sit there, and that Katrina smell, just would linger in your nose for forever. And I remember telling someone, man, you smell that Katrina smell? And we all kind of said, I guess we have to get used to it. And then the pile of trash was gone. And then we'd make another mess, and I'd say, okay, well, this is gonna take a while. It's the second, strike two, but it was gone within a matter of days. So we were very impressed with the cleanup process and the parish's response, and then us reaching out to the parish for certain things, permits and different things like that. It's just very efficient, very fast, very receptive to our concerns.
Within days, debris contractors were working in St. Charles Parish and have picked up nearly 1.5 million cubic yards of debris from this event. Our team at the EOC worked tirelessly to keep everyone up to date as more resources began to pour into our community. We had tremendous support from our federal, state, and local legislators throughout the recovery process. And we had a host of community partners and volunteers come together to deliver hot meals, supplies, and water.
But what we would try to do is touch base with the focal points each night to find out where they're, in the case of Red Cross, where they were asked to go, and then to make sure that that location was actually a place of need based on what we were hearing from the residents in the parish. And if we needed to make an adjustment and ask them to go to a different location, we did that. But we wanted to also make sure we touch each end of the parish if there was a need there. For example, on the West Bank, we didn't want to have everything more toward Booty because if Bayagash or Des Allemands was in need, we wanted to find places there because we knew it would be individuals that would struggle to make it to the distribution site.
It wasn't just our community partners who were a big help. It was our own neighbors and members of our community who found supplies and helped people begin the rebuilding process.
I was raised in St. Charles Parish. I lived away for 15 years, and ironically, I moved back right after Hurricane Katrina. So I've been here since then, back in St. Charles Parish. I work in St. Charles Parish at Dow, and on the side, I do mission work for Mission Youth NOLA. We did this for the first time after Hurricane Laura. So that kind of prepared us for having the storm right here in our backyard. So we learned how to gather folks together to help the people that needed help in the community. And it was really quite a simple process. We put together a Google form and shared the link and said, if you know anybody that needs help, we have some volunteers and we'd like to come help. And that's how we were able, just through friends of friends and through some of the church groups, announcing that there were folks that could help them with the cleanup.
So we ended up teaming up with Mission Youth and doing a lot of different work to help support the community. Well, I could remember there was a little elderly lady that was kind of alone to herself. One day she had no power and we couldn't figure out what was going on with her generator. So we called a friend of ours who went, and all she needed was fuel. So unfortunately, she spent a day in the dark of her house all alone, but all she needed was fuel for that generator and she got going again. But that was a special moment to be able to help her get her lights back on.
One of the things that that really touched my heart was that we had children as young as 2, 3 years old in our own parents' yard, removing limbs and putting them into wheelbarrows, and all the way up to people who were retired and wanted to help out their neighbors. And so it was a wide range, and it was a way to let the children see that it doesn't matter your age or your ability, you can always help.
We were trying to get on people's roofs that needed repair and put some tarps up there to mitigate the damage that they were having, cutting trees off of the structures, and then cleaning yards, doing whatever we could. So that was really, really invigorating because we didn't have inside damage in our house. So we focused on other people.
Even when we are at our lowest, the residents of St. Charles Parish have a unique way of coming together to help their neighbors no matter what.
The citizens in St. Charles Parish are very determined, and when there's a time of need, we come together. We help each other. We think about each other. And I think that's critical, not just in St. Charles, but any parish. We have some citizens that really have the best interests of the parish at heart.
They were very organized. The parish, I had very confidence that they had a handle on things and that they were in the process of fixing them as quickly as they could. So with the water, we lost our water, which was very concerning because that can take a long time to repair. It was back on within a week. It was very fast considering the damage. The power, the sewer, we have a lift station in our front yard. They were working really hard to prioritize getting the power back, the water back, water to the power and sewer so that we could come back to our homes, which was amazing.
I'm just impressed with St. Charles Parish just from not living here that long and living in other parishes and counties when we lived out of state, but just even the main drive, Ormond Boulevard, it's just incredible how fast everything got cleaned up. And I think it was partly because of the residents too, chipping in to help.
We had a mission in March where folks from a high school in Dallas came in to help the people of the community with Hurricane Ida recovery. And their first day of the mission, they went door to door in this neighborhood, visiting with people, just seeing how they were, asking if they could pray with them. And what they found out is people would say, "Oh no, Shao, we good. But Mr. So-and-so, he's 2 doors down on the right. He needs your prayers. Go visit him today." And the missionaries were totally blown away with how much the people of this community actually loved one another.
You just show up. You didn't know if it was going to be 5 people, if it was going to be 10 people, if it was going to be 30 people, but it was just an amazing feeling to show up to help someone you've never met before and see the relief on their face whenever you showed up and were like, "What do you need?"
The signs of rebirth in St. Charles Parish are clear. As every day you drive through, you see fewer blue tarps and construction crews making repairs.
To take that turn onto the boulevard when we got back from the storm and just to see it was kind of like, it was like heartbreaking, And so I was like, it's never gonna be the same again. It's never gonna be the same. And I think it was just like a couple of weeks ago, I was driving down and, things are in bloom, and where things had been piled up and grass was dead, the grass is green again. There's moss hanging from the trees, and it was like, wow, they took care of this. It was fixed. And so for me, it was like seeing that was like, okay, God, like I understand a lot of crazy stuff has happened. It's very unfortunate, but I feel like you're just kind of showing me a glimpse of like, I've got you. I'm gonna take care of you guys. I'm gonna bring you through this.
For about a 6-month spread there, from about 6 a.m. to 8 p.m., it was all the sound of roofers nailing and hammering. So that has definitely changed and is noticeably different. And there are a lot fewer trailers. So as we walk around the neighborhood now, we can see that people are getting back into their homes if they were displaced.
I've learned that this type of stuff is not an interruption of our life. It's our life. And so you just have to learn to live with these type of things, and it makes you stronger and a better person, and your children get to see what you're truly made of. We have 4 kids, and so I think we just kept the faith.
The unwavering dedication of every parish employee, first responder, and resident of St. Charles Parish has contributed to the success of our recovery efforts. While we still have work to do, I am incredibly proud of how far we have come together over the last year. Hurricanes are a way of life in Louisiana, but the generosity of our neighbors, our community pride, and our resilience is what makes us St. Charles Parish.